Our story begins in 500 AD.
The English language has its roots from when sea travelers from modern-day Germany, Denmark, and the Netherlands arrived to the British Isles in the 5th and 6th centuries. By the 11th century, the language being spoken had a very heavy Scandinavian influence due to the Vikings. This language is what we know today as Old English.
The popular TV show Vikings takes place around this time period, the 4th, 5th, 6th centuries, and a little bit after. Now, in the TV show, you'd probably hear an actor say a line like, "We are ready, we attack Paris tomorrow." You recognize that as modern English. It's something you can understand. However, the Vikings, what they would have said originally, wouldn't sound anything like that. It would sound something closer to "We beo feo, we aflegenes Paris morgenlik." It's an example of Old English. It's a very early form of English, but it is still English. 500 years later,
during the 11th century, the British Isles were invaded by the Norman people of France, led by William the Conqueror. Consequently, French then became the language of the aristocratic upper class, while Old English became the language of the poor. However, aristocrats began to slowly transition over centuries to a language that we know today as Middle English. During this transition, thousands of Norman French words were taken into Middle English.
Between the 15th and the 18th centuries, an unexplained phenomenon called the Great Vowel Shift happened in the English language. Before the shift, there were 7 different ways to pronounce vowels in English, but after the shift, a great many new ways were added. By this time, however, spelling had already become regular across the English language. Spelling didn't change to reflect these new ways to pronounce vowels, which is why English has so many irregular spellings and pronunciations today.
At the end of the 15th century, a very important invention was created and had a huge impact on the English language. This invention was the printing press. Brought to Britain by a man named William Caxton, the printing press was the first step in making English the national language of Britain. Following this, the language we call early modern English was being spoken. This era also brought us the man everyone immediately thinks of when discussing English literature. That man is named William Shakespeare.
William Shakespeare was born in the 16th century in England. William Shakespeare is now known mostly as a playwright for writing plays such as Romeo and Juliet, The Merchant of Venice, Othello, Julius Caesar, plays often taught in high school. However, Shakespeare was much more than just a playwright. He wasn't just a user of the English language, he was a creator of the English language. It's estimated now that Shakespeare coined some 2,000 terms and words that had never before been used in English. Words we still use today, like swag or swagger, automaton, and assassination. As well as adding vocabulary to the English language, Shakespeare also helped regulate the grammar of the English language. Before Shakespeare's time, while vocabulary was fairly uniform throughout the English language, grammar was not. Shakespeare helped to regulate grammar and was instrumental in English becoming a unified language across the entire British Empire. Shakespeare is still the most quoted author in the entire history of the English language, and certainly no other single human being has added more to English than William Shakespeare. Here in the 21st century, we now speak what is known as late modern English. Now, while English isn't the most spoken language in the world in terms of sheer numbers, that goes to Chinese, it is the most important and influential language in the world today. English is the international language of business and commerce and is spoken in every major business capital in the world, including Rio de Janeiro, Shanghai, Tokyo, Frankfurt, and Paris. English dominates the global entertainment industries in movies and television, music, and video games.
By the 1700s, modern English syntax was already in place. Syntax means the arrangement of words and phrases to create meaning. That is why it is easy for us to read something such as the Declaration of Independence or the U.S. Constitution, as opposed to something more difficult like Beowulf or Shakespeare. Also during this time period, the British were in the midst of creating one of the largest empires in history, stretching from North America, South Africa, India, and Australia. They accumulated land at a rate never seen before. As a result, the English language made the trip around the world too. Although the British Empire is no more, the effects of the empire on the English language can still be seen today through the form of accents. For example, here's an Australian accent.
Hey mate, how you doing?
Here's an American accent.
Hi, how are you doing? How can the same language sound so different? When people are separated by an ocean for hundreds of years, it is bound to happen that the various groups of people develop their own words and sounds for the language. Even in the United States, one single country, you can hear many different accents, from a Boston accent, Southern accent, to a Long Island accent. The list goes on and on.
To wrap it up,
As you can see, the English language has a very complex and long history involving the pen, the sword, and mystery. But the development of the English language is far from done. With new technology being developed, new words are being created in order to describe it, such as selfie, tweet, and hashtag. Who knows what words and phrases will come about over the next 10, 100, or even thousands of years. Possibilities are endless, and we'll just have to wait and see.